Welcome everyone to another episode. I am so excited to have you here. Today I have an exciting news about the upcoming book that is coming up. I have the date decided, so stay tuned. I'm going to tell you all about it. The sixth book on the Palmar Grasp, hands pulling, and Babkin Reflex is coming out. So I am so excited about it. But before that, I wanted to share with you why it took me forever to publish this book. So in the past, I've been publishing the books back to back every year. So we publish one book. But this time it took me a little bit longer. And I was like, why is it taking me forever to publish this one? It's because when I decided to write the Integrating Primitive Reflexes through Play and Exercise book series, when I mapped out which one I wanted to write, I actually wrote out even the exercises for the first 5 books, even before the first book came out. I was thinking on writing one book, and I realized as I was talking to my coach, it was just so much I wanted to put in, have my therapist and the parents have a lot of options. And of course, the project of creating a book and getting the illustrator, getting everything took a long time. But however, as I was thinking through it, I have a clear idea of what the first 6 or 7 books needs to be about. And now that I've decided to do the 6th book, see, I even, losing track of what number book I'm on. The 6th book on the hand reflexes, I decided instead of breaking it with different reflexes, I just want to combine the whole book on just hand reflex, any kind of reflex pattern that is triggered by the touch of the palm or near the palm or something similar to it. Since when we work with kids, it's not like we can isolate those triggers as much. If the child is grabbing an object, you're going to trigger the Palmar Grasp while you're triggering the Babkin as well. That's why we see the mouth moving, the hand moving, and both hands moving. So we see all those kind of movement pattern in our body. So instead of breaking it, making our readers wait so long, I just wanted to combine it. So that made it difficult to figure out, okay, how many exercises can you put in one book and not making it too big and matching the past series. That is one. And 2, it's because of this. I think this is the one that took me a longer time, is because I really wanted to make sure that the book that we're about to release, especially on the hand reflex, I don't want therapists or parents or readers to think, oh, all I need to do is just do this activity and then I'm going to call it reflex integration. Instead, I want the readers to also understand the in-depth work that clinicians needs to do to really understand how the hand moves, the anatomy behind it, and what to expect, and the why behind these exercises can be used to look at, to almost screen some reflex pattern. Also, in the reverse, I want the readers to understand, like when you're doing this play-based activity, or you're just doing handwriting or whatever game that you're doing, why certain kids have a hard time coordinating these activities, and how can we tie it together. And we also want to make sure that people understand, our readers understand the fine motor progression. So we went a little bit in depth on that part. I should say I did. I went in depth on that part because I really believe it's really important. It's so important as a clinician, as a therapist, to understand how the body moves. When you give a functional skill, what part of the body you are expecting to move, what movement efficiency looks like for that functional activity that you're giving your client to do, and what the reflex pattern looks like. So if you understand how the body moves, how the human anatomy itself, and understand which joint moves when you're giving the specific task, if you understand where the movements are initiated, that's understanding the muscles as well. So that can be the muscle attachment. Even though in the course we're not going to go in depth, or in the book that with the muscle attachment, that's going a little bit too far and too deep. but to just making it simpler to understand, okay, this is how the body moves, this is how you expect it, this is how your wrist move, this is the different ways that your wrist move, this is the different way that the hand moves, and this is the different way that how the thumb moves, the understanding that. And when you're asking your client to do specific activity, then you have a clear expectation of how the movement should be initiated and what movement efficiency looks like. So I want our therapists or service providers to really go in depth in understanding that. So after that, making a treatment plan will be easier and screening will become easier because now you understand what movement efficiency is and you understand the functional movement pattern. And then you add on top of it what reflex patterns are, how they're triggered, sensory trigger, and how they respond, the motor response. So that's the sensory integration piece of it, the sensory trigger, and the motor response. That's the reflex pattern response. You connect that and you connect with your knowledge of movement efficiency, you combine it. And when you're doing a treatment, it's easier to observe. And that's something that we do inside the Reflex Integration Through Play certification program. We go in depth on that when we're working on ATNR, STNR, and different reflex patterns that we work on, actually holistically, all the reflex pattern that we look at. We first need to understand what movement efficiency looks like, understand how the body moves, and combining that and having a good understanding of those two really makes screening and treatment planning and implementation, or even grading, or making even challenging for the client to keep them engaged, much easier. So as I was writing this book, I was not able to put all those things and wanted to go in depth in the book, so it was difficult. So instead, what I did is I just put together an online training, a live online training, a webinar, plus a course. So whoever can join me live, they're joining me tomorrow, and we're going to go through that to do the in-depth training, and the recording is available. So for our subscribers who are not able to join live, they can also catch the course online as well in recorded format with all the information for them, so they have a deeper understanding. So by doing that, it made it easier for me to publish the upcoming book, because I can feel honestly confident and feeling that I've given out all the information that I feel like is going to make a therapist successful in assessing and screening at least the specific reflexes that we're going to address in the book. So it's going to be a companion course for it. So I'm excited about it. And for those of you who already are joining me, we have quite a few people are joining us. So if you already joined me, because this is going to be a recorded podcast that you're probably going to watch it in a couple of days after our live event, I really want to know how you're implementing it inside your session, how it's helping you with your screening. And I want to know what you think about that. And for those of you who are actually interested in learning more about it and have been waiting for the book, make sure you also grab the course. I think this is going to be really helpful, and you will enjoy it. I think it makes treatment planning easier, and it makes measuring your treatment easier. And that's really what I value and our ITP that we're creating, is creating a treatment plan that is measurable, repeatable, and trackable. So you want something that is, you can measure, you can really see, okay, child is here, but I measured that he's right here. And I know what I'm looking at, but we're not just randomly playing, even though, yes, we play, but the child is playing, but you're actually working, screening, and tracking progress. So that's one thing I need to always remind therapists. It's like the play is for the kid. For us, we constantly have to be tracking and measuring. So if you're not able to track and measure and understand what's happening in the play that you gave your client, maybe you have to switch your play in the way that you can be able to track, measure, and be able to repeat that activity again. So in that way, your clinical skill will grow as well. And it will be easier to give out a home program for parents because you actually understand what you're doing and you understand the why behind these activities and exercises. So even though all the games are the fun activities that we incorporate inside our ATP, but it's for the therapist, it's like having that clinical skill, being able, like, okay, I know what I'm looking at. So because of that, it took me a while to feel confident enough to send this book out. And I don't want it to be just another book with activities and games, but really I want whoever's using it to really get a good value. And I've been spending hours and hours and hours working on this course, but I believe it's going to be really beneficial and it's going to help a lot of therapists. So I'm excited about it. And again, thanks for being here and hope to see you next week. All right. See ya.